Let's talk about what some of the traits of epic theater were and are to this day. We actually still see traits of epic theater happening in tons of plays all the time. So you might hear some of these and think, "Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of plays happen like this," or "I've worked with a lot of directors that use some of these traits." And we have Bertolt Brecht to thank for that because he started all of this with his movement of epic theater. First of all, Brecht rejected Aristotle's whole idea of the plot pyramid. Remember the idea that we started off with an exposition where we learned about the characters and the conflicts, and then we had that rising action, and we hit a climax, and then we had some falling action, and then we had a nice little resolution. Well, Brecht said, no thanks, not going to structure my plays like that. Instead, he wrote plays where each scene could stand on its own and be independent from all of the rest. He also used actors in multiple roles where they'd play one character in one scene and then they'd be on stage playing a totally different character in another scene. He would have no problem having costumes and props visible on the stage, and like that there were obviously costumes, like having a character go over and where it was obvious, like, okay, we're switching scenes now, so I'm going to put on this jacket. I don't know, now I'm in another scene. Because he wanted the audience to remember that they were watching a play. He didn't want them to sink in and forget and escape. It's like, you're watching a play, this is fake, you're supposed to be focusing on the message, be detached, focus on the message. He didn't write comedies, he didn't write tragedies. He wrote comments on society, discussions of ideas. There's a lot of technology used in epic theater. There is music used. There are a lot of signs used in epic theater and in Brechtian theater. Pretty cool. And we'll see a lot of examples of that when we get into the Brecht piece that we'll be reading this week called Mother Courage and Her Children. All right, let's head on over to the next slide. Oh wait, actually, first, don't do that yet. I just wanted to also mention that, like Stanislavski, who developed his own acting exercises for the actors he worked with, Brecht also developed acting exercises of his own because he wanted his actors to not be realist at all. He wanted his actors to have this sense of detachment. He didn't want his actors getting emotionally invested in the characters. So he came up with some acting exercises of his own, which were really neat, and we're going to be playing around with them this week a bunch. I'm not going to describe them too much here because I went into a lot of detail about them in the discussion board forum for this week, because you're going to have a chance to choose one of his acting exercises, play around with it a little bit, and post your work on the discussion board for this week. So that's going to be really fun. It's going to be really neat because you'll get a sense of what it was like to practice that kind of like detached from your character sort of work. Might feel a little new to you if you haven't done something like that. But I think it'll be neat because it'll get us into the headspace of what was Brecht looking for, and it'll get us into a good spot for getting into Mother Courage and Her Children. Okay,